Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the award-winning JMT Media podcast. I'm your host, Jaclyn Tecarante, and if you are following us on YouTube, you can see that we are actually in my dining room. And so I'm all about growth and entrepreneurship and empowering women. And today I have an amazing guest, Miss Tricia Shevack. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of details about who she is. I got to meet her several years back, actually at a baby shower. And I have seen her throughout Staten Island and events. And so when she told me about this new endeavor that she was embarking on, I was super excited and pumped for her. So Tricia is a dedicated mortgage professional, and her purpose is to fulfill your dreams of home ownership. Her company doesn't simply offer some of the most competitive rates in the mortgage industry. She provides, along with her team, impeccable service from start to close. She's committed to delivering each borrower a hassle-free mortgage experience by providing breakthrough technology, transparent communication, unparalleled turnaround times, and most importantly, the clock attention to your loan. As many of us know that our home buyers, the home buying process can seem challenging, and honestly, it's actually very overwhelming if you're a first-time home buyer. But with having the right people and the right resources by your side, she and her team can make all the difference. So we are super excited to have Tricia on our podcast. Tricia, are you there?
Hey, how are you, Jaclyn? How's everything?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited for you. Now, you are in your brand new office. So
Yes.
Can you talk to us, before we even talk about this new endeavor that you embarked on, which I'm super pumped, can you talk to us a little bit about your kind of background history in the mortgage, like lending business and all of that? Because I find it fascinating how especially women get to that industry.
Yeah, sure. You know, it's funny, when I got into this business, it was a little over 20 years ago. I know I don't look like that, but
You're looking fabulous, honey. Okay.
but it was a little over 20 years ago, and somebody, a builder, he really needed to have somebody to run his mortgage company while he was very busy, building homes and selling these houses. So I looked at him, I said, sure, what's a mortgage? Because I had no idea. I was young. I had no clue. So I flew around the country. I learned all about mortgages. I sat with some major, players at that time in the mortgage industry and really soaked it all in so that I could come back to Staten Island and sit in these model homes and meet customers and understand what they want to do. And honestly, it was scary. But what I found out is that I was changing lives. I was taking people who never owned a home, or maybe were in public assistance, or maybe living with their family for many, many years. And I was giving them this opportunity. I was telling them, yes, stamp of approval, you can buy a home. And that starts to get in your mind, and you realize really what you're doing in life. And I fell in love with it.
That's
and here
awesome.
I am.
I know. And here you are. I mean, so a couple of weeks back, you embarked on this new journey at Envoy Mortgage. Can you talk a little bit about this whole new endeavor? Because I'm going to tell you what it means to me as a small business owner when I see another female entrepreneur managing and owning it. But can you talk a little bit about Envoy Mortgage and this new journey that you're on?
Sure. Envoy Mortgage to me is my baby. It's the freedom for me to finally do everything that I've learned. So everything that I've soaked in over the last 20 years in business, and actually put it to work. But not only put it to work for me in a monetary way, but to put it to work for Staten Islanders, to put it to work for my clients and my referral partners. And it's the most freeing, amazing feeling in the world. I've been doing this now for so long that I feel over the years, I had all these ideas, whether it be marketing, whether it be, different styles of lending or different products and programs that I should be able to offer. And I wasn't able to, or I couldn't do it, or, whatever the red tape was, it was always there. Now with Envoy, I have the right culture behind me. I have the right support team behind me. I have the right team members behind me. And most importantly, I have the best and the right products and programs to offer my clientele, which ultimately is why I do this.
That's awesome. I also want to mention you have a couple of babies, right?
Yes, I do.
So you are wearing what we call like that mompreneur hat, right? There's a lot of things, right? There's the business. Then there's the business of managing your households with the children. Mm-hmm. And then there's the like self-care, like, let me make sure I have a moment to drink my water and do 18 minutes of yoga, a whole 18 minutes, not a whole 30, but nope. I did 18 minutes, right? Because you get it where you can. Can you talk to us a little bit about what your work-life balance means to you and just kind of some ideas or tips that you could give to other mompreneurs?
I wish I could sit here, Jaclyn, and be like, I am so time scheduled. Everything is perfect. I go to the gym at 6 a.m. and, I'm in bed getting my 9 hours of sleep. That's not reality. Okay. I try the best I can. And my piece of advice is family first. Okay. My business means everything to me. It's how I support my family. It's how I get out there. It's my passion, but I do this for my family. So ultimately, yes, I'm up every day at 4:30 a.m. I get the kids off to school with the help of my husband. I'm in the office every day at 7:30 a.m. My day starts 7:30, 7:25, and it's gone. That's it. By the time I blink my eyes, it's time to pick up kids, homework, dinner, who's closing, what's going on. So yes, the day is a lot, but my piece of advice is just know what your week in advance looks like. Have an idea of what's happening each night so that you can plan accordingly for maybe that test that your kids have, or more importantly, that client that can only speak to you at 8 o'clock at night. I don't have a business where clients only work, when I work, let's say 9 to 5. Most of my business and most of my clients want to talk to me between 5 and 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Or on the weekends when they're seeing homes and they want to put in offers at 2 o'clock in the afternoon while I'm at a soccer game, or, Sunday afternoon while I'm cooking supper. So, the balance truly is just know your week ahead.
Sure. I was going to ask you, because our huge part of our audience and our listeners are other female entrepreneurs that talk about, capital funding for buildings, funding. Is that something that Envoy Mortgage offers, or is it just residential?
So I'm strictly residential.
Oh, got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. So this can definitely help women entrepreneurs buying their first home or even their second home or refinance, et Can you talk to us about, so you had your opening, right? Mm-hmm. This was a couple of weeks back, and I was able to briefly come in and out because I, of course, trying to manage my time efficiently. Yeah. But you had a lot of support that was there. Can you talk about the types of people that were there? And when we talk about pillars of support, we saw everyone from elected officials to Chamber of Commerce to, there was a lot of folks there. So can you talk a little bit about the folks that were there to help support you? Because I think it's important when we talk about entrepreneurship, people always say, well, it's just me, myself, and I'm just making things happen. And yes, there is truth to that, but there's also truth to having that support system behind you. So can you talk a little bit about the folks that attended and supported you or have supported you over the years?
100%. I mean, listen, one thing I learned very young and very early in my career is when you do right by others, others do right by you. And what goes around comes around. And I am very blessed. I always was out there networking. I'm always, you know, trying to help in any way that I can help, offer advice when advice is asked upon. You know, I'm very fortunate. I mean, I had some big names at my grand opening, and they're all there. And I'm where I am because I've had support from so many people over the years. I mean, I've always been a part of multiple organizations, whether it were the SIEDC, the Staten Island Board of Realtors, the Builders Association. But you know, I dedicate my time to those things. And in return, I've met a lot of people. I've networked with a lot of great people. Ironically, we connected that same way also, realizing that we knew each other. So I'm very fortunate to have those types of people in my life. So when I said, hey, I'm having a grand opening, I mean, my door was busting open with a ton of people who showed up, which was very heartwarming for me. It made me solidify the fact that, you know what, I really am doing something right. And people really do agree with that. And, you know, Jaclyn, not to go back too far, but you know, you mentioned before that you have a lot of female entrepreneurs that look at, you know, watch your podcast. One thing I want to mention to that point is that many of them, not necessarily, you know, commercial financing, but residential, don't realize that they have the ability to purchase homes. Many of them feel, you know, I didn't have the right income during the pandemic. I didn't show what I should have been making. There are a lot of products and programs that female entrepreneurs are not aware of. So they're thought or told, oh, listen, you can't buy this year. You're not ready, or you're not going to be able to get financing. That's not necessarily true.
That's awesome. I feel like I have to do an entire like Facebook Live with you so we can talk about these programs, you know, because one of the things that I explain to folks in sitting in media and sitting in panels and having a large audience listen and watch what we do and who we connect with is, you know, it's just like Peter Parker, you know, with great power comes with great responsibility. And so I feel this sense of obligation to be like, okay, this is what I learned. Let me share it with all the women that I know that are watching me because they need to know this too, right?
Yeah.
Because it didn't, you know, JMT Media didn't happen overnight. It happens through, yes, of course, years of hard work and perseverance, but also utilizing resources that are around me and surrounding myself with women like yourself that may be an industry leader in a industry that I'm not familiar with. Yeah. Because growing up, you know, talking about finances, talking about mortgages, et cetera, that was a conversation you did not have at the dinner table. And so now it's being brought to light, especially as I'm working with some youth with the New York City Digital Media Center. You know, I'm like, you want to be an entrepreneur at 18? That's awesome. But you need to learn and understand about finances and about accounting, et cetera, and credit, which is really important. So I think that's great. That's great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to conclude this amazing episode with lightning bolt questions.
Oh,
and
gosh.
So I know, fun stuff. And so it's really only 2 questions. So first, pizza or taco? Go.
Ooh, tacos.
Yes, my kind of gal. And coffee or whiskey? Go.
Coffee all day long.
Definitely my kind of gal. And if there was one piece of advice that you would give all the men and women that are listening to our award-winning podcast, what would that be?
You know, it honestly would be do what you love. You know, find something that really works. It's not about how much money you make. It's about the lives that you're changing, and that life could be yours.
I love that. I love that. So thank you so much, Tricia. Just stay on for a hot second. And for those of you that are following and tuning in, we are now in season 3 of JMT Media Podcast. So make sure that you follow us and listen to us not only on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, but also our iTunes and Spotify accounts. And we hope to see you and cannot wait to see how the world is growing. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a great one.
Bye.